A week or so ago, I noticed a puddle of diesel underneath the tractor. A small puddle, but enough to be concerned about. But I kind of forgot about it, and I parked the tractor inside here. Now it's been a few days with the tractor in the workshop here, and there's a puddle right there of diesel fuel. So I thought maybe we'd figure this out. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from. Well, I know the general vicinity here. It's this area right here, and this is the primer pump, and it's a bit wet right under this pipe here. And also you can see it's a bit wet in here. But this one was wet too. There was like a drop of, you can see it right there, a small drop of diesel fuel. This wasn't tightened all the way. I did that now. I'm not sure if it's still leaking because of that drop or if that's just some residual stuff. So I'm not sure where that leak is coming from specifically. It should be in this area. I guess it could be from the drain plug, but it's kind of weird that it's wet all the way over here. Maybe it's something to do with this pipe here. Maybe it's not tightened enough. This leak right here happened after I repaired that one. I'm not sure if that's related at all, or maybe I've kind of twisted some pipes or something, I don't know. I haven't noticed any leaks until about a week ago. And of course we put the timber blade on not long ago. There's a video about that on the channel if you're interested, link in the description. But it restricts access to this quite a bit. I don't think I'm gonna take it off because it's kind of a hassle. I'm not really sure where to start even. But as I said, I've tightened this drain plug here, and I was thinking maybe I'd give these pipes here just a turn. It's a bit difficult to get the camera back there, but there's a pipe on the back and one in the front. And then we'll start the tractor and have a look to see if we can find any specific areas where there's dripping. So I'm guessing it's about maybe 13, 12, maybe 14. Alright, well, that's about a quarter turn on each of those nuts. Usually things aren't as easy as that, but we gotta start somewhere, so we'll see how this plays out. It's probably losing its prime a little bit as well due to that leak, so I can't really see anything. I thought maybe there was a small leak here, but I don't think there's any fuel in this area. I thought maybe this was some gasket material. Don't really understand why that would be, because there shouldn't be anything in between here. This is just a mounting point. Unless there's some channel through the pump here and it's cracked in behind here or something, then maybe. I've never taken this off before, but it would make sense if there was a screen or some sort of pre-filter in here. We'll take that off now and have a look. Alright, fuel will probably just pour out of there because the tank is on top here, so close that as best as we can, and then I'll get a bucket. Look at all that junk. So it looks like my intuition was right. There was a screen in there. I managed to clean it up pretty good. There's still a little bit of junk like embedded into the screen here, but 10 times better than it was. So it's just pouring diesel out because the valve for the tank here doesn't close all the way. I might order a new screen, but it should be fine. So I'm just gonna put this back, and in a bit of a hurry because I don't want to lose too much diesel. Well, I seem to have made it worse, because now it's dripping. It's probably from the top there. I don't think I need to pump this, but I can hear the diesel going back to tank. I'm guessing we didn't lose too much prime in the filters. So we're going to start it up and just see what happens. I'm thinking maybe that it's just been leaking from the lid. So it's not gripping anymore, and I can't see any obvious leaks anywhere. And so it looks to be holding for now. I'll keep an eye on it for any leaks over the next few days. So we'll leave it like that for now. All right, well, I took this thing off and soaked myself in diesel too. So it does look like it has something here inside of the engine block. And if I push this down, we get diesel everywhere. I don't really understand what this is, but it's something. There shouldn't come diesel through here. Would definitely not make any sense. We're gonna disassemble this, clean it up good. This part here is leaking. It's leaking diesel out of this lid here. There's still quite a bit of junk in here. So I guess it's kind of important the way that this is mounted on here, but we'll just remember that this hole goes towards this lever thingy. That's what it looks like inside of here. I guess the pump feature is also the gasket here, seems like. What I'll do, I'll just leave this as is, clean it up good. This way. Should I use the old gasket or try with an equally sized O-ring instead? Fits perfectly in there. This one is flat at least. Yeah, let's go with the original one. I broke the gasket. Whoops. All right. That should hopefully be okay, maybe. We kind of need a new gasket here. So I do have some gasket material that we can use. I have some cork gasket, this stuff. It's pretty nice. And also I have regular paper gasket and rubber gasket too. I don't know where the paper is, but I do have it. The only problem is using this as a template. I need to remove that. I kind of don't want to. So what I could do is just use some cardboard and make a slit in the cardboard, make a template out of that, and then transfer it over to the gasket. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Right, we need some cardboard. Should be fine, I guess. Right, put that like so. Then I can kind of draw around this. Let's do it here. It's a bit harder surface. Then we'll try to just cut this out of here. Actually, I should probably... it doesn't matter. What I was thinking was I should probably cut on the inside of my line, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter if the gasket is a little bit too big, is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then it's going to be one of these hole punches here. See if the holes match up, which is basically the most important part. It should be fine. Also, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So what do you think? Cork, paper or rubber? The gasket doesn't have to take any pressure. It's just to, I think it's just to seal this area so that junk doesn't get into the engine. Cork gasket is nice for that. And then we just kind of need the hole for this. Can't really imagine that this is terribly important. Basically just cutting out the middle. And it goes this way. Let's start with just making a hole in the middle here. It's going to be in the middle, right? Well, no. It's going to be actually quite close to these holes here. About here. Yeah, I'm just eyeing this. Just needs to go a little bit that way. But this should be just fine. So let's, how are we going to do this? Something like that, and then just cut it like this. These, not great. I do have some different scissors that are much better, but I don't know where they are. Where's my knife now? There it is. All right, well, let's just eyeball this. Something like that. Holes lines up. Yep. It's a little bit big, as you can see. And one thing that's nice is with these cork gaskets, oil and stuff just kind of makes them seal better. All right, well, now I need to clean up the tractor side. That's gonna suck. I'm just gonna take this with me. Let's make some heat in here while we're gone. This is gonna be fun. I kind of forgot about the draining issue, so I have a pretty full bucket and, oh, Jesus Christ. I hate this. I hate diesel. Well, I don't hate diesel, but I don't like working with it. I wonder what the deal is in here. I hope you're warm and cozy with a cup of coffee. If you want to buy me a cup of coffee, you can do so by clicking right there or going to this link right here. I appreciate it very much if you do. It helps me devote more time to create content like this for you guys. I truly hope you enjoy these videos. I don't want to get junk inside of the engine block here. My fingers are just absolutely freezing. You think this is an oil channel? Doesn't make sense to me. Then again, it doesn't really make sense to me why that thing goes inside of here and what exactly it does. Sorry about the smoke or fog or condensation or whatever that is coming from my mouth.
Previously on condensation.
Ellen, there's moisture on the outside of my glass.
It's condensation, Johnny.
But what about the fog on the windows?
It's not fog, Johnny. It too is called condensation.
Condensation.
Wish I had a brass brush, because you're not really supposed to do this. But anyway, with a cork gasket, you can get away with not as smooth of a finish, I guess. At least that's my understanding. I think I'm gonna call that good. This is gonna be fun. I was right, it was fun. Oh, that's a lot of junk. I'm using the funnel here just to screen it again. Hopefully we didn't lose too much of a prime here for the filters and stuff. Looks promising, but that's what I said last time too, so let's see how she does about starting up. Let her run for a bit and see. All right, so another 2 days has gone by now, and it had this puddle here. I'm not sure if it's just some residual stuff around the skid plate underneath the tractor, or if it's actually leaking. So I used the tractor today to heap up some firewood. That's a video coming to the channel very soon, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed if you'd like to see that. But regardless, it does seem like it's still leaking. Just not from the pump assembly anymore. That seems completely dry. Now it seems like it's coming from the filter. So yeah, I don't know, but we're gonna have to check it out. Right there, there's a drop of diesel, and I'm not entirely sure where it's coming from. I can see that this area is kind of wet too, right here. But that doesn't seem to be dripping, although there is a drop. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see that. Well, yeah, you can see it right there. So it does seem like it's leaking a few places, but that pump right there is dry now. That pipe right there is kind of wet. I'm not sure exactly where that's coming from. It's the pipe for the injectors there. Now, this is leaking a bit too. Maybe because it's completely loose. Could be why. Let's see if any of these other ones here are loose. That one's pretty tight. That one too. Shouldn't be a problem there. The reason for the drop that was right here could have come from this connection here, right? And it's just been seeping on the filter all the way down. And since this is the lowest point, then I guess it just collects there and drips. I replaced this gasket here with just an O-ring. Ideally, I'd like a new original gasket, of course. I dried that off about 2 minutes ago, and there's already a drop forming there, as you can see, which means that pipe right there is leaking too. It's this pipe right here. Oh yeah, I can already see the leak. It's gonna be difficult to get this on camera, but right there, is leaking out. And since the tractor doesn't really lose its prime, I'm guessing that's maybe the return line. We can figure that out. There's a couple of lines here from this filter housing here that goes out the back there. And then they go into the diesel pump there. I guess that means That's the return. Well, I'm not really guessing. It has to be the return. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do about that. I need a new pipe there. So I do have some stuff, but not really a whole bunch. Can you use copper piping for diesel? I was thinking about using brake lines, you know? I don't know if you can do that. Should probably Google it before trying. Also, I don't know if I have any copper piping. When I think about it, I'm pretty sure that I do. Where would I put that? Can you guys see anything? Are there any brake lines up there? Well, let's get the pipe dismounted anyway, and then I'll probably just end up taking it to my local hose guy. I think he can make those. There it is. And so it's leaking right here. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be a bit difficult to see that. It's rusted and worn through. So, well, I guess it's going to be another day for me. But you guys will see me in just a second. I called up the hose guy down here and he was actually free. So he couldn't make the pipe. But since it's a return line, we kind of gambled that there wasn't a lot of pressure. So he made, see if I can show you here. He made this pipe. So we just saved the connections in each end and replaced the middle section with a hose and some proper hose clamps. So it's super tight. But when I got back, my camera had died and it was dripping diesel from the return. So I went ahead and installed the pipe before I went to bed. And unfortunately, I couldn't film it. But we still need to tighten up the connection on the one side. All right, that should be good, hopefully. We're gonna test it, of course. I've already torqued down this and replaced the gaskets. Originally, there were paper gaskets here, so that's what I used to replace them with too. They're a bit big, but should be fine. And there's no diesel dripping from this area. This one's dry, and the drain plug there is dry. And that connection we tightened up here is dry too. The tractor needs some more diesel, of course. I've already gone and filled up a few cans we can put in it, but let's test it first, of course. I guess the first thing we need to do is pump some diesel here until we can hear it go back to tank. There it goes. I'm going to dry off these connections here with just a paper towel and then we'll let it run for a bit and we'll check again. Let's just leave that there. It's going to be a bit easier to see if it's leaking because the paper towel will absorb it. Do another one on the other connection. Alright, we'll leave it running with the paper towels there for a bit and then we'll come back and check it again. It's been running for about 15 minutes now, and so far it looks good. This side too looks promising. We'll leave it off for a bit because previously it was leaking more actually once I killed the tractor. So the hose goes right through here and it's going to be vibrating a bit here. So I was thinking I'll try to get this hose protection onto there just to give it a bit more material to wear on. Maybe zip tie it as well. But yeah, I'm going to try that. Getting a camera angle on this is next to impossible. Well, I got the hose protection on there, but I broke this pipe. Apparently, that's just plastic. Yeah, just some plastic pipe here. Very brittle, broke in both places. I don't really have anything to replace this with. The only thing would be brake lines, but it doesn't really seem like I have any. Well, I found some. It's a lot smaller diameter. So yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work out. Still the same day now, just later in the evening. I got this. I called around to try to find this stuff or find someone who could make this, and that was a challenge. Couldn't find anyone, but I did manage to get a hold of someone who sold me this. It is a brake line, I think. It's copper, and I did do some research. Some people say you should not use copper, other people say it's just fine, and I couldn't really find a definitive answer. So what I'm gonna do, I found this online. It was like $5 or something. I'll order one. I'll try my best to kind of jerry-rig this into place, just because I need the tractor tomorrow, and ordering this is going to be about a week before I get that part. So hopefully this can be a substitute for about a week. I don't have a jig to bend these in. Usually with these I just bend them by hand, but when I go to bend this, it's going to buckle probably. I could fill this with sand, just tape the ends and then bend it in the vise maybe. Let's try that. Just a little bit of tape on one end. Should be good. All right, hopefully that sand will keep it from buckling completely. All right, that should be pretty good. And then we need to straighten this out. And then bend it back here. It looks pretty good. Did buckle it a little bit here. It's probably fine, maybe. I don't know. We need to cut it right about there. I need to somehow transfer these over. These little rings here, they go inside here like that. Don't really have a plan of how I'm gonna do that. I'm thinking maybe these are probably crimped on and most likely not designed to be used again. I guess we'll just try to heat it up and pull it off there. Okay. I always underestimate how much heat is in this thing. Pretty wild. Now we need to get this out. Well, that broke right off. I don't want to squeeze this ring too much. All right, now we need to get these rings onto here somehow, using magic, I guess. I don't know. Guess we can try to heat it up. No. If I had my crimping tool, which I've borrowed away recently, I could have crimped this pipe down a little bit, put the ring on, and then expanded the pipe afterwards. But I'm gonna try with this one maybe, see if it will crimp a little bit. Let's try. Well, it did something. Well, I kind of just made it oval shape. Oh yeah, that did the trick. Okay, so, oh nice. Now we need to remember to put this stuff on before we do anything crazy here. So this one goes on there. Something like that. And then what I'll try to do, put this in the vise here. I do think I actually have a way better tool for this. This one should be better. But I'm kind of just punching the pipe through. Can't really send the vice on this copper piping. Something I didn't think about is perhaps it wasn't the best idea to kind of mangle this with my pliers and stuff. This is protruding a bit much. I'm going to shave a little bit off of here. Well, what do you think? Is my DIY thingamajig here gonna work out, or have I just wasted my time? I guess we'll just have to find out, like always. Well, it's maybe a bit long here. Yeah, sorry about the camera. It feels like I'm cross-threading it, because it kind of just starts binding up. All right, well, it's on there. Let's pump some diesel. Oh, by the way, I figured out why there's a pin going into the engine block. This is the lift pump, of course. So it's both the primer pump, well, I guess it's just called a primer pump or lift pump, where you can manually pump it, but also the engine pumps it. This is continuously pumping as the engine is running. So let's do some pumping here and see if it's gonna leak. Well, fuel is going back to tank at least. Let's start her up and see what happens. If it does leak, which it probably will, I hope it's small enough to where I can use the tractor tomorrow and kind of run it like that until I get the new part. But of course, if it's pouring out of here, then yeah, I can't do that. Well, it seems fine so far, which is probably the 7th time I've said that, but 7 times the charm, huh? So it does seem like it might be leaking a little bit. Yeah, it is. From that connection there, as you can see, this is wet now. That connection's fine, but this one's leaking a little bit. So I might go ahead and take this off again. Let's start it up again and see exactly how much it's leaking. It's very little. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do anything about it. So yeah, what do you think? Should we take it off and try to repair it proper? Yeah, let's do that. I broke it. Tapped a little too hard. Oh well, it's going to leak now. Hopefully it doesn't leak more than it already did before I took it off. Oh yeah, that's just 10 times worse. All right, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to wait for parts then. It's gonna be a week, but for you guys, it'll just be a second. All right, well, another new plan here. I was down at the local hose guy again. He made this on the lathe, just from some old hose. And what I'll do, or what he told me I could try, is to put this over here, like that, inside of the hole. And then I'll put an O-ring here on this side. I've already ordered a new part, but I can use this in the meantime, hopefully. All right, so this is what I've got going on here. An O-ring on top there. I'll preload the bolt. It is installed again with that hose gasket thingy inside, and as you saw, the O-ring and stuff. So I didn't tighten this down a lot. So I'm just going to start the tractor now and I'll tighten it until it hopefully stops leaking. That's the plan. Alright, well it's not pouring out, so that's a good sign. Leave it running a bit and see what happens. It's been running for a good 15 minutes now. So, moment of truth here. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. That is bone dry. Haha! It works. Finally. This connection is dry and both of these. Everything in this area, bone dry now. Then let's see this area here. Oh right. I've used this paper to dry off something else. Well, that looks dry too. Yeah, it's completely dry on this side as well. That's just awesome. That means I can use the tractor until the new pot arrives in a week or maybe even more, probably. My order was about 70 bucks or so for this tractor now. Just a few small things. But anyway, the tractor's ready for use now and I'm very happy about that. This was a pain to repair. You make one repair and then that results in having to do another repair and then you have to do another, and yeah, it just kind of snowballs like that. Let's hope I'm done with that situation for a while. And I also ordered a new hydraulic screen filter, which is kind of a pain to replace on this tractor due to the four-wheel drive clutch being here. Normally there would be a cover here that you could pull off and replace or clean out that screen behind here. You now have to take this entire lid off to access that screen. So that's a pain on this tractor, but I've done it before and I mean it's not too bad, but it's still a lot more work than just pulling off a cover right here. If you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, you can click right here or go to this link on screen right now. There will also be a link in the description, of course. I appreciate it very much. I love coffee and whatever amount helps tremendously. Just so you know, I do not expect it and I also do not deserve it. But if you do decide to do so, thank you very much. It is highly appreciated. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.